A top Bullet Club star is set to walk through the forbidden door, and CM Punk's latest social media post gets the internet talking. But first, we have an update on the release of the AEW Fight Forever video game. It had recently been reported by WrestleZone that there had been a delay in the game's release thanks to AEW being unable to attain a teen rating from the Entertainment Software Rating Board, something that was said to be close to a resolution. Well, it looks like we're one step closer to seeing the game on shelves, as Fight Forever has now officially attained a T for Teen rating from the ESRB, which now opens up the opportunity to finally reveal a release date. Whilst it's still unclear when exactly this will be, the belief is that AEW are aiming for the second quarter of 2023, this according to Andrew Zarian of the Mad Men podcast. This past Wednesday on AEW Dynamite, AEW World Champion MJF would tell the story of him driving a car whilst a girlfriend performed an intimate act on him, which led to him crashing into a telephone pole. Max would then say that he moved the woman into the driver's seat, with her being unconscious thanks to the crash, in order to avoid getting into trouble with the police. Brian Alvarez would then take to Wrestling Observer Radio after the show to reveal that fans legitimately called the Nassau Police Department to report the incident, although this story has now been rubbished by the department themselves. ESPN's Mark Raimondi would take to Twitter to say that he's reached out to the police department, with him stating, "Not to break kayfabe, but I contacted the Nassau County, New York Police Department, and reports that hundreds of people have called about the MJF promo from AEW don't seem to be true. The public information officer didn't know what I was talking about and said such calls would go to his office. I've heard from several people who have said there is truth to the original story. Either way, it was a phenomenal, sinister, disturbing promo by MJF, and the question of whether something is real or not is what wrestling is all about. So, huge win for him and AEW. MJF himself has responded to reports of police being contacted, with him taking to Twitter to say, "If I get one more call from the Nassau Police Department, I swear to God, snitches, all of you snitches." AEW star John Silver would take to Twitter last night to show off a photo of himself alongside former WWE champion The Rock, well, at least a waxwork model of the Great One. The image would then lead to an interaction between the Dark Order member and the former WWE champion himself, with Silver posting the picture with the caption, "Really nice meeting you, The Rock, real cool guy, but doesn't talk much." The Rock would then see the tweet and respond to Johnny Hungy by joking, "Yeah, I met The Rock too. Great guy, smells awesome, super intelligent, wonderful dirty joke teller, trusted handshake, and can look constipated when drunk." Now let's jump across to some WWE news, as Triple H is said to have given up on a certain member of the Raw roster. On this past Monday's episode of the Red Brand, Hall of Famer JBL would part ways with his managerial client Baron Corbin, leading to a report from PW Insider that stated Layfield is no longer scheduled to appear on television going forward. In an update from Dave Meltzer on Wrestling Observer Radio, the split wasn't always the plan, with him noting that this only happened because Triple H felt the push wasn't working, and Dave would reveal, "They gave up on it. Obviously, this wasn't the plan. The guy in charge, that's Paul Levesque, felt it wasn't working, and that was it. Where they go with Corbin, I don't know. It felt very much like a burial for Corbin. He's had so many gimmick changes. There's nothing wrong or right with him, but in the pantheon of stars, he's just not at that top level. I think they wanted him to be at that level, and they gave him every chance to be at that level. He's just a guy, a tall guy, but he's just a guy." Former IWGP World Heavyweight Champion Jay White would battle former Bullet Club member Hikuleo in a Loser Leaves Japan match yesterday at New Japan Pro Wrestling's The New Beginning in Osaka event. At the event, it was Switchblade that saw defeat, signaling the end of White's time in Japan. The loss follows reports that his contract is set to expire in the coming weeks or months, with there said to be interest from WWE and AEW in attaining his services. With that said, it's still possible he re-signs with New Japan as part of their United States division, although this is yet to be seen at this point. But what do you think is next for Switchblade Jay White in 2023? Let me know in the comments down below. Elsewhere on the New Beginning show, the next challenger for Kazuchika Okada's IWGP World Heavyweight Championship was revealed, this after the champion retained his title with a win over Shingo Takagi. After the match, Okada would issue a challenge to Hiroshi Tanahashi, who was at ringside doing commentary, before the ace entered the ring to accept the offer. The match will take place on the upcoming Battle in the Valley card in San Jose, California this coming Saturday night on February 18th, a show that will also see the New Japan in-ring debut of Mercedes Monet, who takes on Kairi for the IWGP Women's Championship. His IWGP World Heavyweight title defense wasn't the only thing Kazuchika Okada got up to this weekend, as earlier today he would make his presence known at Pro Wrestling Noah's Great Voyage event, which also went down in Osaka, Japan. Following Kaito Kiyomiya's win over Jack Morris in the main event that saw him retain his GHC Heavyweight Championship, Okada would rush to the ring to take him out with a stiff Rainmaker, leading to boos from the Noah crowd. Okada would then take to the mic to accept a prior challenge for Pro Wrestling Noah's upcoming Tokyo Dome show on February 22nd, which will be the scene for the wrestling legend Keiji Muto's last ever match. Elsewhere on the Noah show earlier today, Muto would find himself face to face with his Dome show opponent during his stint on commentary when New Japan's Tetsuya Naito confronted him ahead of their match later this month. At last night's NWA Nuff Said pay-per-view, the company's newest signing was revealed when backstage announcer May Valentine was joined by former Impact and WWE star EC3, who announced that he will be bringing his Control Your Narrative faction with him. It had earlier been announced that EC3 would take on former WWE superstar Alex Riley on the night, who he would defeat, with EC3 now confirming he's signed a contract. The show itself would be headlined by a match for the NWA World's Heavyweight Championship, which saw Tyrus close out the night as still champion, this after defeating former champion Matt Cardona by pinfall. Bully Ray was then confirmed to be Tyrus's next challenger after a show of mutual respect after the match. And next up, the working relationship between New Japan Pro Wrestling and Impact Wrestling continues as one of the top stars in Japan is heading to the Impact Zone. Ahead of the upcoming crossover show named The Multiverse United, Only the Strong Survive, former IWGP United States Heavyweight Champion Kenta is scheduled to make his Impact debut at No Surrender on February 24th, with him linking up with Bullet Club teammates Chris Bay and Ace Austin to battle the Motor City Machine Guns and another New Japan star, Kushida. Former AEW World Champion CM Punk would get the wrestling world talking once again with a simple social media post last night, with him taking to his Instagram story to share a video, with many feeling the post was in reference to backstage disagreements between Punk and certain members of the AEW locker room as of late. For context, the speech in the video would say, "Forgiveness is tricky because people think if you forgive him, you gotta hang out with him again. I've forgiven a lot of people. I love them from a distance because it's safe for me to love them from a distance. Forgiving you doesn't mean you get to sit in the car with me. You did me wrong, man. You did some foul stuff, man. You played me dirty, man. You left me hanging now. I forgive you." Whilst like many of CM Punk's social media posts, the meaning behind it is up for interpretation, although some have taken it as a sign that he's willing to put the past behind him and move on from the animosity between himself, Colt Cabana, Hangman Page, and the Elite, while some have taken it to mean that he's open to a return to WWE, who he's had major issues with in the past. Either way, the Second City Saint continues to show that he can be the talk of the wrestling world without actually saying a word, as interest continues to build as to what his next move will be. And before you go, make sure you check out my prediction for every superstar removed from WWE 2K23.